Hi everybody, I thought we'd have a quick look at the Blackbird before we go on to the other patterns. It's a fairly simple pattern to put together, so it's a great starter if you've not done it before, and it's good to, you can make it, basically you make it as complicated as you want to. So the way I'm going to go at it as such is the black areas. I'm going to use a variety of black fabrics to build up the area, and the way I always do that sort of thing is look at my pattern. I use another piece of parchment paper, greaseproof paper in the UK. I'm just cutting myself off a bit. There you go. And I am gonna, the first thing I'm actually gonna do is I'm just gonna draw around this eye, and I'm gonna just pop my eye in, just the yellow. So I'm just gonna do a whole big yellow circle, and then I can then cut out a smaller black circle and stick that on the top. So just cutting around the circle is probably the hardest part of the whole project. And then I'm just going to pop that on, and then everything else I do can come underneath that. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to do the main body, which is the darkest black piece. Okay, and I'm going to draw around it. Remember, my black's going to go under that yellow, so I'll just draw it over the top of it, sort of thing. And I'm going to cut this out. If you wanted to, you could do this whole thing in one piece of fabric, one piece of black fabric. That's entirely up to you. But I'm going to build mine up from different smaller pieces. It just adds a little bit of variety to, makes it look a little bit more complicated than it actually is, I think. Okay. So I have raided my stores yet again, and I've come up with all these various blacks. That's not black, it's cropped in there somehow. All these various blacky colours, and I'm just going to trim away to make small pieces like that I'm going to stick onto the piece that I've cut out. I use Bonder Web fusible on the back of all my fabric, and I'm just going to stick it on, and it can go right over the top of the edge because I've cut it out. Once I've finished, I can easily see the shape that I've got to recut out. I just think this is the quickest way of getting my fabric on, and it leaves a nice neat edge as well, because I'm going to cut that edge out. I really like pieces of fabric that look a bit like that because they look completely random and don't look as though you've just cut that out. So that's a really nice little edge. So I want to make sure that's in the main body of it, and I'm going to put everything else underneath that edge. So on this piece I've got a very boring flat side, so I'm going to make sure that goes underneath. That lovely edge. There we go. Once this is all filled out, I will be able to cut it out and then peel it right off and then stick it back down again, which is the beauty of all these fusibles. Now this piece has got a few random bits straying off of it. I'm going to keep the shape, but just get rid of those frays. Use this, it's got a pretty dense pattern on it, so I'm not going to use terribly big pieces, but it'll look quite nice. We of course have got the dog drinking water in the background, because it wouldn't be one of my videos without it. This is sort of velvety type fabric, so it's quite thick, so I'm just going to make sure when I use it I put it under my edges so that it just holds down the thickness of it to some degree. You can see I've just got a few bits to fill in there, building up quite nicely. I really like this because it's quite deep, dense black, and also than some of the other colours on there, so really stands up nice. go. Just need one more bit to fit in there. Way too big, so we're just going to cut that down a bit. Okay, and that has filled up that whole area. So I'll turn it over and you can see it's really nice and easy to cut out. Nice and easy to see what we're doing. And I haven't quite filled up that area in there, so just gonna pull some bits up and just stick in one of the bits I've just cut off. There we go, that's all cut out. Just make sure my pattern is still in the right place. Peel off a bit of parchment off the back. And try and find out where it goes. So there we go, that slides in there, up there, and I just have to make sure that I just peel my eye back a bit so that fits under. And stick it down onto my parchment paper. And a bit of paper's moving around a bit, so I might have to put another bit of tape on there just to stop it moving off the spot. There we go. Better. Okay, so I'm going to do this piece, which is exactly the same. No, I'm not. I'm actually going to do, if I can find some more parchment paper, cut a load off here. I'm going to put this first feather in here, which, if we just go back to the iPad, is the palest of the feathers. So I need to find a sort of pale greyish colour. And I'm going to be going over the stem of the flower, of the leaf, sorry. So I'm actually going to draw that out. I mean, I could easily peel it back and draw it after it's on there, but what I might do is just cut that piece out, and then it's done. So I'm just going to go to my brown drawer, if I can find my brown drawer. This is my brown drawer. want a fairly lightish brown. I think that would work really well because that'll stand up against my blacks. And it's long enough for me to do it all in one piece. And when I get to here, I just cut it off and then I can put another piece going that way. That's fine. You won't notice that. So I'm just holding it on and just cutting. Just make sure that it's over far enough. There we go. And I'm going to put that on. And when I do the grey bit, I can just peel it back up again. If you see, my bit isn't quite as thin as the bit that's on here. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. There we go. And then I can go on to my grey bit. Just going to cut this out and make it a little bit easier for myself. I'm going to do that top grey one in one piece. And they go, I have 3 grey pieces, a light one, a darker one and a mid grey. So I just need to make sure that I've got enough. In fact, I think that if we look at the picture, it's the right way around, I think that would make a really nice bit at the bottom. So we can use that. And let's find a darkish grey. It's not a great contrast. You look, I just put those two together and they're too similar. Sorry, I'm having a rummage through my grey box. That would be too much, I think, because we're putting it in one block. That might work. Let's have a look. It's too pale, not pale enough, I don't think. That's probably too pale. That would work. Might be a bit too pale. That might be too green. That's quite a nice dark, dense grey. So that would, we've got enough of it. Got enough to spread over that bottom. Yes. So that would make a really nice dark. Actually, it's not the bottom, it's the middle. Darkest one is in the middle. So that's fine. I'm not sure there's enough contrast for that though. That's quite nice. That works quite well. I'll just have a bit more of a rummage, see if there's anything better. I have that. Oh, that's too pale, I think. And this. I think I prefer that to that one. I like that, but I haven't got very much of it. And looking at my plan, this colour at the bottom is the same as these two over here and this piece coming over here. That pale bit is the same as the top piece over the head, so I need a fair bit. Of that. It's nice, but it actually, in my light, it's got quite a gluey shimmer to it. That works. So let's think about where we are. So those two work well. How does that work? Maybe a bit too samey still. Just carry on rummaging. These are all my bits in these boxes. I do have some new boxes that I can have a look at. Some new when I get a new piece of fabric, I always cut a bit off and put my fusibles on it and then pop it in here. When I'm getting desperate, I'll come in and have a raid. So let's see. And then once I've cut into it, it then goes into the boxes. But this just means that I can put all my big pieces of fabric, and they're not big. They're mostly fat quartz or stuff that I managed to salvage from other things. Now, I like that. Let's just have a look at it. Managed to do that. So that's going to go across the top. Not sure about the bubbles now. It's not easy choosing. It's a tad boring. Getting towards the end. That's it. So, what to go with? I think I might quite like that. I think that makes yep. That's what we're going to do. So the palest bit that I drew round, that is going to be this bit. Now I'm going to have to hold that tight. There we go. So that is going to go on there. This doesn't want to stick on here. Stick this back down again. Give it a bit longer this time. I'm going to peel this bit of stem back. Tuck that underneath, if it'll let me. This is going to go over the top of my black. There we go. You can see quite quickly it's starting to build up. So next piece. Which was, we're going to use this piece, which was the darkest. Again, I'm just going to hold it on the top and cut round. There we go. Make a space in all the chaos. Peel off my backing. And I'm going to take it out this way this time. And I'm going to go underneath the paler. And I've got that little gap there because if you look on the picture, it's got a pale line running through there. So that's perfect. Just a paler grey just to highlight it. And I'm just going to pull this bit up here and just put this camera down a bit. I've got a slightly bit that's jutting out of this edge. I'm just going to take that off because when I come to do the paler bit under here, I can then just place a piece exactly behind it. So I haven't got to carefully cut that fairly slim bit out. Okay, so last piece. Okay, and that was going to be this. Hopefully it's not too much. Okay, that's going to go on there. I'm just going to pull the actually tuck it under, makes it easier. Okay, flip that back over. And you can see this is just jutting out a little bit, so I'm just going to take a nicer, just going to take that little jut out of it. There we go, and I will put that bit in so you can see what I mean by putting it behind. You can cut it out much bigger, certainly at the top here. Just find a pale, it's not pale enough. Yeah, that should be fine. It's a bit bluey, but it's fine. There it is. Yeah, pull these two edges up, slide that under. There we go, that fills in that little area without too much drama of having to cut out a tiny little piece. Stick this down a bit. See, really quickly we filled in quite a lot. So I'm going to stop there for today, and then I'll fill in this black area here, because you've seen me do this piece, so it's exactly the same. And then I'll do this bit, and then we'll come back and have a go at the leaves. Alright then, bye!